Hi there, Nate. I think there's a little bit of a delay. Thank you everyone for coming. It's really kind of amazing. I forgot that sometimes I kind of forget that people exist, not to be too kind of, sad about it. It's nice to see friends and family will be watching. Oh wait, wow, Dylan Gamble. The toothness is an inside joke. Oh, nice. Okay. So I'll just have to get used to kind of a little bit of latency. About 1 to 10 seconds is normal, I hear. So tonight I'll be playing all Brazilian music. I was kind of struggling to decide what I would actually want to play, and I ended up kind of choosing this music because I find it joyful, kind of free, and kind of social in a way. It has like a social quality. And a strong kind of folk element to it, which I think everyone is probably a little bit lacking during the pandemic. And this is just music that I like to play. It's sort of weird. I think every musician who's thought about if they would play their instrument or sing if no one could ever hear. I think that's kind of what we're into, except for all the lovely people who showed up tonight, and it's really kind of amazing, and I thank you all so much. So the first set of pieces I'll be playing, actually I think I'm going to open with a piece by Jobim, and then I'll be playing a set by Reyes. Maybe I'll start with Jobim right now. Yes. Hi, Stephen. It's nice to see friends from really all over. Stephen and I have known each other from San Francisco, California, and it's really amazing seeing my friends from Northern Ontario, from Toronto. Stephen's question is about this guitar. This isn't my guitar, actually. I play a guitar by Jeroen Hilhorst. And so this is very different. This is actually my friend's guitar. He let me borrow it, Leo. And very kind of him. We like to talk guitars, and he has a few extras. So this is a guitar by Boguslav Terix. I think Marcin plays on these guitars, or did, and a number of kind of accomplished musicians. So it's actually a really, really nice kind of change of sound for me. And it's really, really wonderful to actually be able to try a different guitar, especially during this time when guitar fairs are not really happening. Oh, hi, Josh. Good to see you, man. Okay. So I guess I'll talk about this next set by Reyes. I kind of came across this music, although it's not so difficult, and I wish I would have came across it earlier in my life, when I wasn't kind of under the pressure and kind of enthusiasm, my own enthusiasm for playing really hard music. I would have liked to have, kind of almost learned how to play guitar with these pieces. So I kind of found them later. They're almost in a style the guitarist would know. Francisco Tárrega. They're definitely later in terms of their harmonic quality, but they're of the same sort of difficulty, and they have a similar lyrical quality, and they're very natural on the instrument. And so I personally really enjoy playing these just by myself, not trying to impress with anything too spectacular. They're just really kind of wonderful pieces for playing at home. So if anyone wants to kind of ask me about specific pieces or where to find the music, I'd be happy to help with that. I'm not actually sure why I didn't come across him before. I don't think that many guitarists have played these works as everyone has played Tárrega, but I really love them. Yeah, wow, Cowan, Wyatt, this is kind of amazing. I just have to take a moment to acknowledge all the people who've came to watch me. I'm kind of shocked. Like, it kind of goes to show me that I haven't been keeping in touch with people as much as I would have liked. It's really wonderful to see everyone. Sarah's here. That's awesome. And Simon. Ah. Mike. Oh. Thanks for coming, Mike. Okay, this is actually kind of fitting. This is a choro. And it's titled, the translation in English is Good People. So. Thank you, everyone. Should check Twitch. I have not been keeping up with Twitch. Great. Okay, I think I'm okay. Thanks so much, Angel. Yeah, Angel and I kind of go way back to Northern Ontario, Iron Bridge. We're neighbors, but we live kind of, it's such a sparsely populated area that neighbors means, about 4 kilometers away or something. We're quite far from each other. But we rode the bus together in high school, and I would always kind of talk with her, and it was a long bus ride. The school is so far away. It's almost an hour with all the stops. And I often bring my guitar on the bus and kind of, that's where I probably got most of my hours in, of playing guitar. It was really on that bus. Oh, nice. Yeah, Nate and I shouldn't maybe give like a bio for everyone who comments, but I'm kind of overwhelmed here. Nate and I went to Cambrian College together, and we really played a lot of duos together, and we're really best friends. And so it's really great to kind of see people. I think I saw Alex Hardery too. It's just so amazing to kind of, after you've been like a kind of a lifer like me, going to school forever, like one of those people who never kind of put away the braces. I guess you really kind of, I'm really fortunate to have met so many people. Okay. Hi, Marcellus. So this is my nephew. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, and hi, Heather. Thanks so much for coming. Oh, right. I'm wondering, actually, the guitarists, if they, how many guitarists here are familiar with Reyes? And I'm just getting into it. So I'm just kind of dipping my toes in this style of music. And if anyone has any kind of suggestions for, similar pieces, I'd be really interested to look, know what other stuff to look into. feel old, Angel. I'm forgetting how long it's been. Let's see. Okay. This is a very popular one by Riss. It's a waltz. Oh, Chris. Yeah, actually, I should just mention this. This kind of repertoire is straight out of what I would play at this wonderful motel restaurant in Ironbridge called the Red Top. And I've played there for about 5 years. And, you know, last summer was the first summer that I missed playing there. And I'm so lucky to be able to play there. I mean, it's a town of 900 people. And to have a kind of nice restaurant where I can play every Friday, and there's so many people, and everyone's so nice. It's actually a really kind of wonderful experience. And I would play a lot of Brazilian pieces and Spanish pieces, and to try to fit their tapas menu a little bit. And so this repertoire is kind of like me just missing doing that, actually, like part of, but it's also just enjoyable to play. But I really miss everyone there. Yeah. Hi, Camille. Great to see you. Thanks so much for coming. This is another popular one that by Reyes that people might recognize. The Reyes fans out there. Okay. Shiying. It's great to have family watching. Thanks so much. Hi, wow, Julian Bertino. I miss you. I haven't seen you forever. It's great to see people that I've just kind of blown away. I really have been in school forever, and I'm really thankful to have so many friends. So I think I'm going to take a few pieces off of my set. I don't want to play forever here. And time's kind of going by faster than I thought. So this, I'll be playing two pieces by Pernambuco. And I'll start off with a Sound of Bells. It's a very popular one that if people, Philip Candelaria fans, that's where I first heard this on his CD. and I just love this piece. And he actually has on his CD, La Candelaria, he just has so many South American pieces that are just beautiful, and I've never been able to find all of them actually, despite my best effort. So if anyone is sitting on some gems, let me know. It's really fun for me. Okay. Yeah, that Philip Candelaria album really is awesome. I completely agree. just wouldn't be a concert without, yeah, an ambulance. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a nice reminder of where we really are. Sorry about that. Okay, maybe this will be my last piece. I gotta play Pereira. Okay, I'll play 2 more pieces. Okay. This is kind of a fun one. This is called the Itching Powder. This will be my final piece. Sorry for another siren. It just wouldn't be the wonderful GTA if we didn't have emergency sounds. Okay. So this final piece is by Marco Pereira, and it's Coro de Juliana. It's been a really, really nice piece. I'm working on a larger set of his works. They're quite challenging, actually. thanks so much, Linda. I'm really thank you, everyone. I should thank everyone for coming and joining me tonight. Yeah, I can't believe how many people came and listened. It's really amazing. I mean, like everyone, I haven't seen anyone for quite a while. Just kind of living in relative seclusion. It's really amazing to kind of see you all here, like Alex, Josh, and Nate, and family. And it's really, really amazing. Yeah, thanks for that kissy face. I think that's great. So I think that maybe now, thank you so much. Thanks. I think now I think Daniel has a kind of a Q&A interview thing planned. So maybe we can transition into that. Daniel has been unbelievably helpful. I've had tons of computer problems and stuff like that, and he is just extremely considerate and patient, and I really want to thank him so much for everything he's done for me and for many other guitarists who are going to be playing soon. Simon, for instance. Looking forward to Simon's concert. Oh, Eric, wow. Nice to see you, man. Oh, thanks so much, Anjo. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I think my sound was having issues, Dan. I'm sorry. Just give me a time. Just give me a second. Okay. Wait. I have a jiggly wire. Okay. All right. That works. It's good. Thank you so much. Ah. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, they are mentioning this. Oh, no. Oh, that's all right.
And there we go. That should be good. Now people should hear me now.
Phoebe, thank you for coming.
All right, I think we'll start the spiel over again. Thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for all the people who have donated already to Abshir's performance. All the donations that you make during concerts for the end of time go directly to the artist who is performing. So 100% of the donations today go directly to this guy, Abshir Miller, and so really support local artists, support artists in Canada, and let's all work together to make music stay alive during this pandemic. We don't know how long it's going to end. We don't know how long it's going to keep going. I don't think it's going to be the end of time in real life, but you know, it's gonna be it's gonna be a while maybe, and that's okay. We'll be here every 2 weeks. So Abshir, thank you so much for this concert of Brazilian music. You turn up the heat, making it really enjoyable for everybody. And here in Canada, it's so cold all the time. It's been warmer than usual at this time, but they call this Fool Spring, right? This is the time when...
It's deceptive.
Yes, it's where you get like a little bit of a hint that summer's coming eventually, but then it just blasts you in the face with a snowstorm. So I'm being really vigilant, so it was nice. Thank you so much for this concert, and just tell us a little bit about what made you decide to go with this all Brazilian program for a classical guitar concert.
Well, I mean, there's a few things. I've mentioned I've played at this restaurant motel in Iron Bridge.
Yeah.
And I remember when I applied there, I was applying to be a dishwasher. And I had my resume, you know, out of Cambrian College, and it said, like, I played classical guitar.
Yeah.
So they you know, brought me in for an interview, and they were like, wait, can you play guitar for us? We don't really need a dishwasher so much. We already have one, but we noticed you play guitar. And so I got this job where I thought I was going to be dishwashing all summer, kind of ruining my nails in the hot water, and no, I was so lucky, really. And so they every single Friday, and sometimes it's Saturdays, depending on the summer. They Antonio, the chef, he's really amazing, and he would make these special tapas, and there would be different tapas every single week. And so it was so exciting. He was bringing something new every single week, something creative with his cooking, and I would do my best to learn as many new pieces as I could, because I'm not as a classical guitarist who can't improvise at all. That's who I am, really. I can't, kind of do variations off of a standard or something like that. And so I have to kind of just bring new stuff. And I love to do that, actually, and I really, it became like this super positive thing for me to learn pieces, figure out what people like, and talk to people about the music during the brief breaks. And so the Brazilian set is kind of like, at first I thought, I should just play Spanish stuff. I shouldn't ever play anything else, but there's just too many difficult Spanish pieces out there for me, and not enough easy ones. And so, I had to kind of widen my search. And I love Brazilian music. I mean, it's just so, like I'd mentioned, when I first got into guitar, I heard the Canadian Guitar Quartet.
Right.
And I bought Phil's CD, and I bought the Quartet CD, and I was just listening to it all the time, and that was sort of the first, pieces, even before listening to Segovia on YouTube and then getting his CDs. Like, I just really started listening to Brazilian first. And so, yeah, it's kind of a nostalgia of that, of my summers, which are now not so much the same. And also, it's just, I found that this music is really the polar opposite to what the pandemic life is in Canada. It's like,
I was going to say something about that. There's such a contrast.
It's really absolutely that kind of, I mean, that's what kind of drew me to it. It's like, I want to play the most warm, social, community kind of music that I possibly can, and that's kind of what it sounds like to me.
That's awesome. I think that's the right way to think about it. It's just like, if you are in a place that you don't want to be, or you can bring yourself there through music, and it's really amazing. Like, I was kind of joking, but you really do feel that when you listen to this music, like, the heat does go up a bit. Like, you do feel like, I don't know, at least me, I do feel a real warmth in the music.
Yeah, I think there's something of the dance quality in it, and yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And then to be, truthful about it, like maybe negative, I should say, not truthful. I find that it's just kind of fun to sit down and play. Mm-hmm. And, there's not a lot of pieces that give me that sense, to be honest. Like, right. For instance, if I'm working on something difficult, which you can probably relate, I mean, there's like a kind of a fear and an apprehension to picking up the guitar when I'm playing something like that. Like there's a kind of like, oh boy, am I going to be able to conquer this, you know, really kind of this obstacle?
It's like a battle sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes that's really fun actually. And it's like, how am I going to figure out how to do this, and will I be able to do it? I mean, I've taken on pieces, you know, that I honestly probably shouldn't have even looked at, and you know, with a recital date kind of in hand, and so I kind of, sometimes that's fun and challenging, when you're, you know, young and there's people all around and there's performance classes at school that you can, you know, show people your progress. It's kind of exciting and get tips from everyone. And then now it's like, you know, there's not so much of that. And so I don't really want to, I'm not in the mood lately to kind of, this sounds awful, but challenge myself. I don't really want to do it. My challenge is to just pick up the guitar and really enjoy myself. And so I've been playing, I've been playing a lot more than what I played tonight. So I play a lot of kind of hours of music, and I don't play any of it particularly well. Just disclaimer. I mean, I'm just kind of like, you know, play it to enjoy it. And if it's good, then, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But as long as it's, I mean, I wouldn't like it if I was totally awful, but...
I'm sure he's one of the most self-deprecating musicians I've ever met in my life. And this is you're always saying such rough. You're so rough on your own playing. You sounded great today. You're sounding really great today. I really loved listening to it. So, you know, there are so many things. Man, there are so many things I want to talk about with you. But you have a really, really different story compared to a lot of classical guitarists that I met, or musicians that I met, classical musicians in general. And so you grew up in Iron Bridges, Ontario. Is it Bridges or Iron Bridge?
Bridge. Yeah, and just a single bridge. And it used to be called Tally Ho.
Tally Ho.
Yeah, and so it was a place where kind of loggers would come in from Blind River and pick up their paycheck, I think, and that was like the tally part. And it's actually, it's a lovely town, really beautiful. There's all sorts of wildlife. The air is so fresh compared to what it is here. I miss it in a lot of ways. And actually, to be honest, during the pandemic, I mean, there's almost no disadvantages. Like, I could say that, you know, oh, there's concerts to go to here, and no, never mind. Anyway, I'm sounding negative. But, no, yeah, I didn't totally grow up there. I moved there when I was in grade 10. Yeah, and there's a lot of local musicians there. It's just there's no classical musicians that I particularly know of. I don't know of any. I don't think there are any. Definitely not as like a career or something like that. And so I had to drive like an hour and a half in grade 12 to like try to like learn classical guitar as fast as possible before going to school. And it didn't work that well actually, but you know, I tried. It was a lot of fun. But it was like an hour and a half, and my mother would drive me every other week. And so that was, yeah.
Wow, that's wild. And so what kind of made you decide to do classical guitar? You know, when you were living in Iron Bridges, like what brought you to that?
Well, I think a few things. One, I had some music teachers that in high school that I really, really admired. And for me, they made my high school life much, much more enjoyable. And so I really wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to kind of do as they did. And so when I looked into it way too late, you know, there was only a few things I could study. I could, you know, go to music school for jazz or classical. And at the time, I had played saxophone, but I couldn't improvise. And I played guitar. And already at that time, I went from playing electric guitar. I was playing in a prog metal band with some local guys. And we'd have to drive like an hour to rehearse, so that was kind of difficult. And so because we were so far away, I just started, I bought a steel string guitar, and I tried to play by myself. So I was kind of playing like Andy McKee and Don Ross stuff, and you know, with the percussive tapping and stuff like that. And I had to like, I can't believe if I look back at how I learned that stuff, I would like watch them. And like, I would just kind of watch them forever. Some of them I bought the tabs online, and then other times I just watched them endlessly.
Wow.
And, but it was because it was so, I don't know, I guess I didn't enjoy playing electric guitar alone so much. I've heard some people it's just amazing what some people can do.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Mike Ruggiero, he showed up to this concert. And
Yeah.
he's unbelievable. I mean, I love his stuff.
He's doing great stuff
check
right
him out. Yeah, he's got amazing stuff on Instagram. And so I had no idea about any of that. So I was totally ignorant. I just figured, okay, well, I have to hit my guitar a million times and, tap on it and stuff like that in order for this to be, sounding like a complete piece of music. And so that's what I did. And that's kind of similar to classical guitar. So I figured, I can do this. Like, I just have to, take some lessons. And that was what I did. And then I went to Cambrian College.
Wow. That's a huge gap, though. How did so you have a very interesting trajectory. So you went to Cambrian College at Sudbury, and then after 3 years of that, you went to University of Toronto, and then you did your master's at San Francisco Conservatory in California, and then now you're doing your doctorate here in Toronto. So tell me a little bit about how you've adjusted, because all of those different environments are completely different. I mean, what's your what have you learned from moving from place to place, like, and this kind of environment?
I think that's it's really wonderful, and actually all the people who came to watch this concert tonight, it's really heartwarming because there's people from all of those places actually. I mean, there's people from Ironbridge, people that I've met at the Red Top, people from Cambrian, some people like Patrick Gasco. We weren't studying, so much at the same time, but we kind of, Cambrian is such a family, and so we all kind of know each other.
Yeah, he was really stoked because he was like, man, like it's representation. Yeah.
And no, so it's kind of, it's wonderful to kind of expand, our social groups and meet other like-minded people with the same interests. But I suppose every single place was challenging in a unique way. I don't know how to. They all had their challenges. I think one of the difficult things, honestly, is just never. It's kind of, although it's nice to meet new people and everything. I think that's one of the challenging things about being, a university student. It's one of the most miserable things. You kind of are just like a drifter or something. I don't know if that's a bad word, but
I know what you mean. Yeah. It's
and
hard.
So it's like, it's hard to kind of have long-lasting relationships and feel at home and get established and comfortable, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's just like everything is up in the air a little bit.
Yeah, rooting yourself is challenging in situations. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. It's always challenging. Do you find that since you've moved from Toronto and then returned, it feels like more like of a homecoming, or do you feel it's like a completely different place since the last time you left?
It feels very different, actually. I think part of it is because, like me, a lot of the other students have also left, and then on top of it, the pandemic. I just kind of don't see even the people that I mean, we live like what 10, not even 5 minutes from each other.
Yeah. I could walk to your house like in 10 minutes maximum. Yeah.
Yeah, and yet I mean, we never actually see each other in person.
It's true.
So
it's true.
It's different. There's some people like Adam Batstone, a really close friend. I haven't seen him. He moves, so it feels very different. Like the people I would see kind of regularly. I have my friend Sarah, and I actually am living with my roommate is from Cambrian College. He played violin, and so that's kind of nice. So it is it's a little bit like home in a way. But, yeah, no, it's changed a lot actually. It's just such an isolated time.
Yeah, I'm just checking these comments here. So a
Oh,
lot
yeah, I
a lot
need
of
to do
people
that.
have been watching these, and this is really great.
Wow.
Simon
Thanks, Peter.
Simon Fairtosh, who will also be playing on this channel pretty soon, says the Brazilian music was a nice reminder of the deadly new COVID variant.
Oh
brewing."
yeah.
It's a pretty dark
That's-
note, man.
that's
Wow, heavy vibes these days, and I think that's totally normal because, it's a heavy time for a lot of people. How I know it's probably been a while since you've performed in public since COVID. So, what are the big differences between playing a regular concert and doing this live stream experience? I mean, you seem to
Well-
have adjusted to it very well.
Well, I mean, I think I was surprised actually because I was horribly nervous about this event, and I kind of ashamed myself because I just found that here I am not playing the hardest pieces on planet Earth, and I just it's actually a new thing for me to play a concert where I'm not in physical pain 24/7 and kind of having to warm up in a closet or something beforehand, And so I felt it was different in that regard, which isn't because it's live streamed. But I actually, when I played, I wasn't nervous. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just, it's not so heroic to maybe play on over the internet. But it is kind of scary to be in, slapping, punching, kicking distance from your audience. But I can really give it to you if you mess up. Yeah.
But it's interesting, at the same time, as you say that, people can also comment while you're playing. So people are, commenting while you're playing. Do you find that distracting? Do you find that is a different experience?
You know what? It's more pleasant, actually. And I don't think that I actually really like that. I don't know why. I guess it's just more natural. I mean, there's something about kind of just everyone shut up and listen to me for an hour and just endure it. It's just a very kind of miserable medium.
Uh-huh.
And then of course the seats are uncomfortable, and if you sneeze, everyone's kind of gives you the death glare. So I actually find it. I mean, I find that kind of etiquette, if you cough, we're gonna look at you funny.
Uh-huh.
I think that makes the performer a little bit more nervous because it just makes them get oh man, I'm really doing something really serious.
Mm-hmm.
And to some extent, I think part of the reason why it's less nerve-wracking is just because nobody had to drive out on their Saturday evening, pay for parking, whatever. Kind of, I didn't have to. I mean, I don't want to dismiss the time that everyone spent coming here. It's lovely, but at least it doesn't feel as if I'm, the expectations seem a little bit lower, to be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I was very nervous about it. I did not feel that way before I played.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt very positive. Maybe it's all the comments. It's a positive environment.
Well, yeah, I think that's something that we get from regular concerts that we don't really. That's something that we get from live stream concerts that we don't get from regular concerts. There's this idea that you can get live feedback. It's if you're playing in real life, it's very unclear, what the audience really thinks of you. It's I don't know. What,
Exactly.
Yeah, you can feel
exactly.
the energy, but it's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And applause kind of helps. Applause is a helpful thing that kind of bridges that gap a little bit. But actually, when I was playing in restaurants, if the Red Top, for instance, I really I would be able to talk to people about the pieces. They would mention another composer or talk to me about where they heard that piece before, and and I actually found that to be really helpful. Like one of the things that's nice about actually playing in that kind of a little bit more relaxed environment where people are actually eating and they're enjoying themselves and they're not sitting in an uncomfortable chair and starving to death. The nice thing is like you can figure out what music people actually like,
Yeah.
and sometimes there's a part of kind of university. Music in a university, which is always about pushing the boundaries and developing and evolving, and we're kind of trying to change things, and it doesn't. It's also nice to just figure out what do people like, and not try to totally push the envelope and get people listening to atonal stuff or something like that.
Yeah, I do that to people sometimes, like, with the atonal
Well, that's
stuff.
good though.
And it's quite a thing, I get a lot of really mixed responses, and it can be very challenging for some people who are they hear the words classical guitar, and they're already apprehensive because they feel like, oh, it's my cast or something, and then they go into the concert and they hear something that's completely divorced from what they've ever heard before. I think it can be a lot sometimes. It was really nice to hear this concert. It was like all the music was so accessible. All the music was so, we were with you the whole time, which was really nice. I think this is really, really, really interesting. I think you've done so much great work with this. You seem to have been really apprehensive about the fact that the music is so simple.
Yes.
Did you find something freeing about that, or did you find that, how did you relate to that during the actual performance?
Well, actually, I mean, people were positive about it. It was very encouraging, and so I didn't feel as bad as I did before I started playing, probably because of that. And I shouldn't feel bad. It's not like I should apologize. It's so disrespectful to the wonderful composers who wrote this music, actually. But I mean, I can't help but kind of be a part of my, this classical guitar world where it is kind of like, expected for you to kind of shred a little bit. Like a lot of people come to a concert for that purpose of seeing this spectacle, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. I like it too. But I felt a little bit guilty for not doing that. But it's just not what I want to do during the pandemic. I just couldn't really bring myself to it.
Yeah.
I was working on some, Tedesco and Burgundy, these challenging words. I just don't. I still want to play the guitar. I don't want to force it too much. And I love those composers. It's just, I need to kind of just be happy with the instrument.
Yeah, I feel that. So right now, we're both in the same program at the University of Toronto. I'm on my way out, and you're on your way in, and so we're both doing a Doctor of Musical Arts, and I know you might be in the early stages of this, but what topic are you going to be researching during your program? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm going to be researching the effect of fingernails on tone production on the classical guitar. And so, I mean, there's a lot of classical guitarists here, and then there are some people who don't play classical guitar, so I'll just explain that, the shape of your fingernails, we have to play with our fingernails.
These nails, right? These crazy
creepy
talons. Yeah.
And they have a massive effect on tone. And so, I've been kind of doing research, reading what has been written. There's some really great stuff out there. But I'd like to kind of really quantify all of these variables that are mentioned and that I think are important. And actually what I'd like to do is create a tool for shaping nails that removes a little bit of human error, like a kind of something, not just a kind of a file where we're kind of trying to make a straight line or whatever. It's something that is without that kind of element of, a human being trying to do something perfect. It's just going to be a kind of a...
Wow.
So I'd like to kind of design something simple to do that.
Wow, so this is like an engineering vibe.
Well, I don't know anything. I just know that I have a vision for this type of thing, and I don't know. I'm not experienced. I'm not, a mathematical person, and I'm not. But I really do think that a product like this would be helpful.
Yeah, and then you can really take that somewhere, once you've patented it. Don't say too much, I guess.
Yeah, right. I better not tell everyone.
Yeah, you shouldn't tell everybody.
Scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's really cool. So, I guess in graduate school, it's so much more separated from the life we live when we're in bachelor's or when we're, in these different environments, even masters. So, how have you adjusted to the, to the change in life, into the added responsibilities and things like that? Like how has that changed for you?
Well, it's I find that it's on one hand, I should just say that the major change is that it's a lot of kind of self-directed work where you have this project and no one's kind of so much holding your hand through it or telling you, hey, did you remember to do 5 hours of research this weekend? Did you how's that going? No one's really kind of harassing you like you would have in undergrad with like a million assignments. Like I remember undergrad, I would sometimes have an essay with like where it's like give me a rough draft A and then rough draft B, and it would just be like kind of like really, and it's helpful actually. And so it is a little bit different, but I think that actually musicians they have a lot of larger projects going on that they'll either with their music and sometimes goals, like there might be a piece or a program that they really want to work on that they're not working on immediately, but they're kind of working towards it. And so I think these types of larger projects are not too alien for musicians, but it's not so crazy. But no, in terms of academic work, I mean, no one in even masters has written a paper that wasn't crammable, like that you couldn't kind of do it if you just kind of drank some Red Bulls and just
Yeah, that was how I used to do all my essays. Just like, just kill myself.
Yeah.
Just go. Stay up all night.
It's doable. I'm not saying that I did that every time, but it was always doable. So this is just a different thing where you have a project that is just you cannot really complete it in any short period of time.
Wow. So one thing that we haven't talked much about, even for me, I'm really interested. What was life like in San Francisco? When you moved all the way there, like being from Iron Bridges in northern Ontario, where it's so cold all the time, and just living in this world of endless summer. What was in this great school?
Yeah, it was amazing. I really actually liked the weather. That's probably not such a surprise. Everyone would like it. It was very different. I would say that actually the weather was a larger difference, but another difference was, which is kind of a dark thing to mention, but the poverty there is actually really kind of startling.
Yeah.
And there's some areas in the city that are very kind of dangerous and very depressing. I've never seen anything like that in Canada. I'm sure there's, Canada has its, places that were suffering for sure, but I had never kind of seen anything like that.
Yeah, I felt something similar when I went to Tallahassee.
Right, yeah.
It was quite shocking.
You told me that you were hearing gunshots regularly.
Yeah.
Which is,
it was not a big deal for people around there. But
I remember you telling me about that, and there I was like about to apply to American schools, and it's not to say that America is just a gun violence haven or anything, but I kind of couldn't even really comprehend what that would be like. So I just kind of went for it.
Yeah,
you didn't scare me enough.
The culture shock is quite something, because I think it's very interesting. When I think of myself as a Canadian or I just kind of lump myself in as like a North American person. I think of Canada as being essentially the same. Well, before I moved to the States, I thought of Canada as essentially being the same as the U.S. You know, we have some very clear legal differences and so on and so on. But I thought, you know, it was pretty much the same. So I wasn't prepared at all for a culture shock. So
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It definitely has its dark parts, but the school is amazing, and actually in general the city is wonderful, and the people are very kind there. And one thing I like about them is actually there's I think quite an appreciation for nature there. There's just everyone's kind of wearing hiking boots and like taking the time to go to their Golden Gate Park or go to Muir Woods or go to the beach. They're just kind of actually connected to the kind of natural areas and the interesting geographical locations that they have, and I really like that. They're very nice people, and so that was really, really great. And I have family that watched tonight, and they live in Menlo Park, and so we went to many different kind of parks with them and botanical gardens, and I really loved that actually about California. It's really wonderful in that way.
Yeah, and was the school environment like very competitive? Was it completely different?
I don't think it was that competitive actually. I think everyone. I mean, there were people. The students are amazing players. There were just remarkable musicians there. But I thought everyone was very friendly. I actually ended up being the guitar TA in my second year, and so it's mostly a social job actually. It's kind of you're kind of just a little bit of a mascot, and you do help with some of the kind of how things work. You kind of do a little bit of secretary type of administrative things, but for the most part, everyone's so friendly. We would all kind of eat together, and people would just stay there all day long. People would just be at the school endlessly practicing.
Right.
And it was a great place. The thing I actually loved the most about the school is that there were so many wonderful classes. And like, it's actually a very expensive thing for a university to put up with. Like, to be like, okay, let's say Jeff McFadden, you can have a fretboard harmony class, and it's like, but I secretly think that the university cringes a little bit that they have to pay for a class with like 5 people in it, even though he created like this textbook and that was his research and it's unbelievably valuable.
Yeah.
But like I don't think that they can get as many guitar classes as they'd like for sure. It's like not that easy, and I really like that about San Francisco. Is there was just so many classes, and like there were, for instance, guitar literature. We would focus on, we'd have Renaissance guitar literature as a separate class.
Wow.
And Baroque guitar literature, and Romantic guitar literature, and then also a class for, and so it was just like way more specialized, and we had people who were really experts, like David Tannenbaum talking about 20th century music. It was just like he's really kind of lived it. He knew the composers, and Rich Savino was an accomplished kind of player, and he's amazing. He's just such a wealth of knowledge, and it was really kind of wonderful to have those classes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Going to a place like that, it's just so great. Like, how do you tolerate the cold? How have you survived in the winter after going through that? Do you still have like this like plus 10 cold resistance from being from Northern Ontario? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I don't cry when I go outside.
Okay.
So I can keep myself together, but yeah, no, I guess I definitely don't like the cold. I mean, I think it's pretty awful, but that's nothing. Can't do anything about that.
Yeah. It's just a crazy time. It's a crazy life. So many people are saying so many nice things. Angel Bean is saying, when Abshir plays with the Red Top, he always has the restaurant full.
Oh,
you have a lot of Red Top Inn fans.
Yeah, no, it's such a great place, and very, very supportive.
I would love to check out that place if I'm ever in Iron Bridges, Ontario. If I'm just driving through, So that's really, really wild. I mean, like, a town that small, it must have been a really big adjustment to move to even a place like Sudbury, right? Like,
Yeah, Sudbury, that was an adjustment for sure. I found Toronto to be the craziest.
mhm.
Because I mean, I just actually when I first moved to Toronto, I think I was like really really almost angry about how cold it was, like socially cold. I guess like
Oh,
everyone was kind of
socially,
like
yeah.
yeah, and actually I was used to just. This sounds like I'm a really hateful person, but I just found like I didn't. You have to understand, I was really in the middle of nowhere. Like I really
Right.
did not, and I just felt everyone was kind of in my zone, and you know, no one would look you in the eye when you walk by them, and like I just thought, it's like type of thing where I sound like a crazy person. It's like the type of thing where you're walking and someone else is walking in the other direction, and and you're wondering, are they going to move to the side, or am I going to have to move to the side? I sound
Right.
insane, and I always just I never really felt positive about those encounters. Like I always just thought, oh, this is kind of negative, and it was just because I wasn't used to it, and now it doesn't bother me really at all.
Yeah, you've just become like, yeah, the city,
I'm used
the
to
city sort of makes you cold, but it's so strange when we first moved to a place. And I mean, I'm not from a place as small as Iron Bridge, but I grew up in Stratford, and it was really a big adjustment when I went to a place where, people really don't talk to each other unless they have to, in a
Right.
place where privacy is so different. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really really a big adjustment. I mean, but when you go back to Iron Bridges, do you find that culture shock returns, or
Um,
the fact
I
that
find
everyone
it's-
knows each other? Yeah.
I think it's harder to adjust to Toronto than it is to adjust to Iron Bridge. I think Iron Bridge is very natural, actually. Like people are friendly. It's like kind of what I don't want to use the term family too freely, but like it's much more natural than like kind of being a little dismissive of like human existence, which I think that can kind of happen
Yeah.
in the GTA.
Yeah, it must have been so strange, to like see homeless people and things like this.
Oh yeah, that
just-
was crazy. But I should say that I really like I love cooking, and I love all of the culture in the city, and no, it's like it's really great. It's hard to take advantage of those things now, but it's I really like that about the city. It's not I want to be a Toronto hater or anything like that.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people who live in big cities, and they kind of resentfully live there just because it has all the things that they want, but it's always really difficult. The social interaction is always this really challenging thing, and it's sort of, I've always known Toronto to be this like colder place, but what I find, when you find those little niches that you're looking for, you build these, like, it's like a bunch of small towns inside a larger city. You start to find
Yeah.
those little spots in there. Were you tempted when the COVID thing went down, like, when all these classes are online, were you tempted to move back to Iron Bridge and just and like did everything from there, or
Oh yeah.
were you?
Yeah, totally. I just, like many people, I didn't really know what things would be like. Lessons were in person. There was coachings in person. I was a TA.
Yeah, me
So
too.
like and then you're saddled with a sort of a lease, and you're kind of trapped into renting. So it's like
Right.
that's how it goes. But yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I'm not taking advantage of Toronto so much. It's almost impossible to take advantage of Toronto.
It's
Don't
hard.
you find, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're so busy, but like, do you find that living in Toronto helps, or like at the moment it's hard to trace it back because
Yeah. Well, I've been wanting. It's very strange because we're in a really COVID hotspot where we are, right? So it's kind of like we're right in the middle of the most concentrated COVID area in all of Canada. So it's very strange. But I've always wanted to. I keep talking about the idea of like, oh, what if we just like went to Cuba or something? Like, what if we just like went to Malta or went to just some like faraway place that's like really warm and just like hung out there for the summer and then came back, but it's never materialized. It's just too difficult.
Yeah.
It's too difficult to organize these things. You know, it's.
Yeah, I think that's what all those politicians who have gotten in so much trouble. That's probably what they were thinking.
Yeah, I remember when that scandal was going down, and I was thinking like, why is everyone mad? It's like I totally get it. I was like, would you not do the same thing? I don't know if you were like really rich, and I don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Maybe I just destroyed my political career if I ever.
Yeah, no, I did not accept that.
I can just give up on politics now. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
it's actually so hard to have a conversation without it becoming political during this time. It's kind of like,
yeah.
It's such a political time.
And Lowell Abshir, Sarah DeCuna says, Lowell Abshir, Toronto is the opposite of what Canada is supposed to be like. And Angel says, I have lived in Iron Bridge, Ontario for 30 years, and I love the people down here and how quiet it is down here.
No, it is wonderful. I really like it.
Yeah, and K. Walter 66 says, we're with Abshir. Iron Bridge is lovely, and we drive 20 hours each way to get there. Right. I feel that. I feel that really. 20 hour. Is it 20-hour drive to get to Iron Bridge? How far away is it from Toronto?
Oh no, it's not that far. It's like I think if you drive quickly, it's like 6.5 hours, 7 hours.
Okay. That's not so bad. You know, one thing I've always wanted to ask you is a kind of more sensitive question. From where we are in New Hampshire, USA. This. Okay. Yeah, this is a more kind of sensitive question, and I guess this is maybe I don't know if some viewers are more interested in this kind of thing because we're both guitarists with similar ethnic backgrounds in some sort of ways. We're both mixed, and we're both like people of color, I guess you might call it. We're both classical guitarists from reasonably small towns, so I've always related to your experience in some sort of way, and that sort of it's very rare when you see that combo. So, what was it like growing up in the small town, having these kinds of interests, and being from the background you are from? Like, did that change anything, or did that
Well, it's such a I guess a popular kind of topic now, and so I'm taking classes, and we have these kind of written assignments, and so that becomes like a thing. Like I had to write an assignment about how my experience has shaped my music, and then in parentheses it was very specific to my ethnicity, sexual orientation, etc., etc. So it's a little bit leading the witness, I found, but I tried to my best to answer, kind of do the assignment.
Where were you assigned this?
This was at U of T.
Oh my God!
It was part of the research and performance class, and so like I did my answer to it is really that. Well, it's kind of that it's had almost no impact actually on my musical interests. Like I honestly can't trace my background to my musical interests at all.
Interesting.
But so I don't know. I guess I honestly kind of don't think it's shaped me all that much, to be honest. And I don't mean to say that in such a way that other people, there's no way it could have, it shapes other people for sure. But for me, not so much. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, so you've never found that you were kind of stuck out like a sore thumb when you're.
Oh no, I do, and probably I'm also like 1,000,000 feet tall, so that
right. People will mess with you less, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I guess but I've definitely always been different, I suppose. Yeah. No, I guess I haven't thought about it.
I guess the strange thing is that we both are half white, which makes things extra complicated, right? And so I think that that does kind of affect your identity in a weird way. It makes you feel like somehow like oh well, like I might be an outlier in some ways, but like you still have this kind of entitlement. Like I still should be here. Like this is where I'm supposed to be anyways, you know. And it's not quite the same. Yeah, it's a little.
Well,
yeah.
I guess since I don't know, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I haven't thought so much about how that has impacted me. Well, one thing that's interesting is that people have no idea what background I have. I just look relatively ambiguous.
Right.
And so, but I've never. Again, I don't even know what to. I don't even know what kind of behavior to expect from anyone because of that. I honestly have no. But I mean, what is it like for you? I should ask you because I haven't thought about it enough.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I growing up in a small town, I thought that everyone experienced racism like in this really heavy way. I thought that was like a normal thing, if you're from a small town. So I definitely did, but it was never. No, it was pretty overt actually.
No, it was for sure racism totally.
Yeah.
And I think I've just been lucky. I mean, Iron Bridge has been great. Everyone's so nice there. That I haven't, experienced anything like that. I remember there was a time when I was in. This is so anecdotal, but there was a time when I was in a mall and someone was saying the N-word to me, which I was a little surprised because I was surprised he even knew that, I was, part African. So I was a little bit like, oh wow. I mean, he kind of got that right, but it was a really odd person. It was just really, really weird, and I didn't do anything to him. So I've seen racism for sure. But it hasn't shaped much of my life though, at all.
Yeah, that's a very interesting answer because it's very different than the narrative that we're often told to expect. It's like, oh well, we're colored people, so we must be victimized all the time, and all these horrible things happen. But clearly something is working out. You're doing a doctorate.
Yeah, the world can't be too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm doing, and everyone's so nice to me. I've been lucky, but I'm sure some people have a really, really tough time.
Yeah. I think the situation really, really varies. That's really interesting. So Maria Milanich asks, when you returned to U of T, did you start taking lessons with the same guitar teacher you studied with in undergrad? Was it strange going back to a previous instructor?
So I went back to Jeffrey McFadden. And strange? No, actually, it was. If anything, it was very comfortable. And I really admire his teaching. After studying with many people, having master classes and witnessing master classes with so many people, I actually think that Jeff is a really brilliant person. I really think he's remarkable.
Yeah, he's got it figured out.
Yeah, he's a very analytical person and very honest and helpful. Yeah, actually, I find him to be quite a good teacher.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised at how well he can articulate things that I've never even thought about before.
Yeah, he can describe. Yeah. He's really, really a smart man.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So Ben Borg, hello Ben, how's it going?
Oh, Ben Borg.
Wow. Yeah, he says, hey Abby, what's that guitar?
Talk
a little about your guitar.
Yeah, so this is actually not mine. This is my friend Leo's. This is a kind of a little backstory. It used to be Rob McDonald's.
Whoa. Okay.
So yeah, it's seen a lot of playing. There's a lot of wear and tear on it, but it's Leo took it into luthier Mark Ashurovich and really got a lot of stuff kind of touched up and fixed, and even kind of sonic changes and improvements, I think. And so I really like it. It's a guitar by Boguslav Terex, and it's a cedar double top. Marcin Dillo plays this guitar. I think T.Y. plays, or he played one of these guitars.
T.Y.?
It's been really, the GFA winner.
Oh.
I don't know his. I guess I know him from that abbreviation. I don't think I could pronounce his actual name. It's kind of embarrassing.
Okay. Okay.
He uses that. Yeah,
Okay.
he's remarkable. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, it's a really great guitar. I mean,
your old guitar was a Hill Horse Super Concert guitar, right?
yeah, I know. I still have it though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just sitting over in my room. So it's a very different instrument. It's like, you know, very very loud, and
It's built
it,
to be as loud as possible, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's built to be this like cannon sound, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's got a ton of sound, and you know, it has a unique tone. Like I find that the tone is very different than, and every guitar has a unique tone, but I do think that it has a very unique tone.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
sound
would
like
really,
a guitar.
Yeah,
That's something I remember saying one time.
and you know, to describe it, it just does. It's so reinforced in every single area except for the soundboard. That
Uh-huh.
a lot of the sounds that you'll hear if you play a normal guitar, you just won't hear when you play the Hill Horse. And so I find that the room that I play in really affects my own kind of pleasure of my sound when I play it. Like it's nice to have a room that has good reverb where I can hear the reflections back at me. I really like the Hill Horse. I mean, it's a great instrument. But you know, it is a real kind of privilege to be able to just play something else and have a lot of like the a lot of the kind of I find that some other guitars like this one I find it to be very romantic sounding.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's enjoyable to give your ears a break.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we've been we've been talking for so long, and this has been such a great experience talking with you and connecting and getting this concert together and working on how to figure this all out. Every concert is different. We always have to figure out how to set up everybody's stream with their particular equipment. It's always really challenging, but we worked it out. It sounded great. So
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, you've helped me tremendously
Oh,
with
so
the live stream. It's way more difficult than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. We're always trying to figure out new things because we're multi-streaming it on 3 platforms now. So since the beginning of the pandemic, this is a new thing we've been doing. So I was really happy at how this new setup actually worked out. It was really great. And to everybody who has donated already to the concert, thank you so much for donating to Abshir's concert. This guy deserves $1 million. But the least we could do is give him some, something to and it will be great. So there are links on the comments of the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch platforms, and all of the donations go directly to the artists. So Concerts for the End of Time, as of this year, has raised over $8,000. They're almost at $9,000 for the artists who have played in the events, which is really amazing. And so it's been making a difference in artists' lives, and we need arts to continue during this pandemic. There are so many things we're thinking about. We're thinking about the people who are the front lines, the healthcare workers, and they are so important. And so many people in our society are keeping the world going. But the last people we always think about are the people in the arts. And we forget that all of our society's accomplishments, all of our history's accomplishments come from the arts. When we look back and we say, what was the Roman Empire? We see a piece of pottery. We see the architecture that they created, the things that were really unique, the instruments that they were playing. This is what defines a culture and a civilization and a society. And so it's the same here. If we lose the arts, we lose everything. So we need to contribute to our artists who are working so hard. You don't want them to go into software engineering. We gotta keep them while they put all the good time in. Okay. So anyway, please contribute to this concert, and thanks for everybody who's been checking it out, and thanks to everyone who's already contributed. So thank you, Abshir, for giving that amazing concert. It was so nice to feel those vibes, in this time. I can feel, the hope of summer is emerging out of this concert, and so you're ushering it all back to us through this. So thank you for that, and see you around. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daniel. I'm really honored that you've had me on. This is really amazing. It's nice to see all these people. And it's really a wonderful experience, actually. So thanks so much.
All right. Thanks. And Kay Walters leaves us with a great comment. She says, "Done and done, and we are so pleased to have been a part of the magic and the hope of summer." I totally agree. Thank you, everybody. Okay, see you. Bye.